I gave my heart, but I'm not gonna cry. Your truth will be out there under those eyes. The public will see when your stories collide. I'll just sit back, watch it all happen when I leave tonight. I'm not the first, won't be the last in your little obsession. But I swear to God, I will leave that lasting impression. You kiss like a promise, you talk like a friend, but you break good people like it's some kind of trend. I'm not your fool, I'm not your tool. You spin your tales, I walk away cool. I gave my heart, but I'm not gonna cry. Your truth will be out there under those eyes. The public will see when your stories collide. I'll just sit back, watch it all happen when I leave tonight. One day they'll rewind all the hurt you designed, every sweet little script, every truth that you flip. And I'll be long gone, headlights in the dark, but my name on your tongue like a brand on your heart. I gave my heart, but I'm not gonna cry. Your truth will be out there under those eyes. The public will see when your stories collide. I'll just sit back, watch it all happen when I leave tonight. I'll just sit back, watch it all happen when I leave tonight.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good whatever it is that you are joining us today. This is Abby Badger, aka Jessie from Arcane Adventures, dropping the latest breakdown video with Shell and Clough, who will be joining me for this episode. This is going to be Chaos Connection Part 1. I will have Part 2 and 3 coming up right after this as well, so stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed so that you get the notification when I drop that premiere. And then after that, I will be playing for you guys the full-length conversation phone call from the April 4th phone call that Mike actually called and was blackmailing me into removing videos because he does not want his truth coming out. So please stay tuned for that. I hope you guys all get something out of this. I hope everybody starts to see and is seeing by the time this is all over and done just how disgusting, decrepit, and absolutely diabolically insane this evil person is. I don't even want to say he's a man. That's an injustice to men. So stay tuned, enjoy, and welcome Shell and Clough. Alrighty, so here we go. We got another recording. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I don't know when this is actually going to post. I don't know. I don't have anything set. This is kind of another one of those sitting on the back burners, much like the one that had posted on April 4th of 2026. All due to the fact of, yes, Clough, you were actually sleeping. So Shell and I will get you caught up on what all happened with that. As it turned out, yesterday afternoon, I had received a phone call from Miss Wendy Gwizdala. and she was basically going over some of the stuff that she was doing with home, getting ready for Easter and so forth. And she goes, "Oh, by the way, Jess, I have to tell you, did you know that even though you took those videos down from your channel, you could still access them all if you go to the playlist?" And it dawned on me because Shell, you had even told me that those videos never came down. And I'm going, I took those videos down. I made them all private. I don't understand how any of those videos could come back up because you said PRT was really upset about those. I'm like, I took those down. I'm stumped. The only ones I left up was the Hector and the LBL. And I even took down the grand finale and you said no, that there were some still up there, and Wendy was informing me, yes, that there are videos up there that you can access through the playlist. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh crap, okay. So I went in,
Yeah, Josh was like pretty upset about that, and
and I
he's
didn't
like, he
realize.
said, and if he hadn't brought it to my attention, and if he hadn't been complaining about it, I would have never known. And I went and looked, and then you were in hiatus for a couple of weeks there after all that blow
Yeah,
up,
Mm.
and so I didn't get a chance to tell you until I could tell you, and um, yeah, and so yeah, they were there for all to see.
and I didn't know that, and I apologize. I really didn't know that, especially to, I mean, yeah. I apologize to everybody that I did those videos on. I thought those were all down and removed, so I really do apologize. So while I was in there last night, I went in and I removed that playlist and I removed the rest of those videos. And and the only reason why I did keep those is because if at some point I wanted to go back in and pull some stuff out because there was stuff in there that didn't necessarily have anything to do with, I mean, we talked about so much, Clough. I mean, everybody knows
Yeah.
there was so much stuff in there, and I would like to be able to pull some of that stuff out because there were other things that we could actually talk about that has nothing to do with the whole dramatics that had happened over the last 2 years. Um,
Yeah.
but while doing so, and while pulling up the rest of those videos, I came across the phone call conversation that I had posted unlisted for you guys to hear in regards to Mike talking to me over the phone about his hoaxing, the EVPs, the sounds, the things that were going on out there, and him lying to
Mm.
me and the moderators knowing about it, particularly Sharon Guy and Pam Singleton. And in doing so,
Which
huh?
I listened to last night, and I don't think I ever listened to the whole thing.
Oh,
I listened to it last night, and I was like, "Oh my God, I knew it! I knew it!" And I was like, "Wow, it is so telling." So I'm glad that you opened that up, Jess.
yep. So I actually made that video because I think you heard it too, right, Clef, when I first gave you
Yeah.
guys. Okay.
I listened to like the first 20 minutes and then I forgot what happened because I
Well, it
got
was
caught
only,
up with something. But I
uh,
did finish it up today, this morning.
oh,
Like I finished the whole thing.
I was gonna say, because it was only like a 25, 26 minute clip out of, I think I have a total of 6 hours worth of recordings from the last few conversations that we had prior to me doing the video on February 1st. And yes, anybody that wants to come at me and say that I was evil about what I did and setting him up with this particular thing, anybody that has
I don't
followed
think
and
you're gonna
knows.
get that from PRT though.
No,
You're
no,
not
but
gonna get no.
I may very well get it from a lot of the people from his side because he'll even say, "See, told you, she knew what she was doing. She set me up," and I only set him up from the moment that I knew I had to expose him for what he was doing. And if that is evil, then I guess I am evil and I stand in judgment before God. But other than that, I needed to be able to have something to back it up because of the level of evil that this man truly is, if you can even consider him entirely a man. He's more of a demon at this point in my book than anything. The
Well, just I
level
don't think you're being bad.
is horrible.
I think you're standing your truth because in this, you could have got drugged down with him, and supporting that, just like I could have too, because I had moderated for him, so had Clough. I mean,
Hmm.
what you did was literally like say, I'm going to be an open book here because I'm a transparent person and I'm not standing for this. I'm not involved in this. And I think you were more in protection mode at that point than somebody that's pointing fingers per se, because then in that recording, he comes out with the truth himself. He sits there and talks about it with you, and
Mhm.
he completely. I mean, he puts
Like
the nails in his own little box, if you ask me.
like it was just no big deal. And the way he threw Josh Hughes under the bus, like, oh yeah, Josh, he's nasty like that. But is he? Is it Josh
Yeah,
that's nasty like that, Josh Hughes, or is it actually Mike who's nasty like that? Like I told you, he used to send video clips of pornographic video clips to me and laugh about it, thinking it was funny, talking about, oh yeah, my buddy sent it to me. Him and his wife are into this stuff. And it's like, dude, then why are you sending it to me, first of all?
Yeah.
And why? Just why? Why are you sharing this? Why? And he thought it was funny. And it makes me wonder. I know for certain there is somebody else out there who knows that I am telling the truth other than you three or you two, and I'm sure, and Dana, she knows, because I know we're not the only ones that experienced the level of depravity that he is.
I'll say two things here. Never got any adult videos from him. Good thing. But I do remember some of the jokes from the other video that you put out yesterday, where he'll say something like disgusting or whatever, and it was, I guess, towards like a family member, or I think it was his sister Rhonda. I remember some of those jokes. So, can vouch for that. Also, another thing I want to say: what is considered evil? Are you saying that he's saying that you're evil because you recorded the call? Because from my understanding, he's recording. He records every conversation from everyone he spoke with. So,
Well,
hot Miss Kettle.
it's a little bit more than that, actually. So while I was on the phone yesterday with Wendy, we were talking about stuff, and I was going through changing some of the because I was already in my channel. I was like,
Mm,
oh, let me fix some of these thumbnails because I had been meaning to change the thumbnail in the short 17-minute video that I had done after that live where I caught the blue light thing, and I was going to put a headlight on there about catching him hoaxing, and here's the connection and stuff.
mm.
And so I'm scrolling through my photos, trying to pull out thumbnails and clips and stuff. And I thought maybe I had scrolled too far and had a screenshot of the phone call or something when he had called. And it took me a second to realize that no, he was actually calling me. Something had set him off last night at 7:04, and he decided to call me. And I was like, what the heck?
Mm.
Wendy's like, I can't do anything. I can't record because I was like, if I flip over on three way and keep you on, I have you as a witness, but I can't do anything. I can't record. She's like, I can't record either. And I like trying to call Shell. I'm like, Shell, oh my gosh, I need to have you on this phone call. I need to have a witness. I can't record. And she's like, I gotcha. Let's do this. And I said, he's gonna call back. And that's when he ended up sending the
it was
message.
about yeah, it was about 10, 15 minutes later. He sent through a message, and then he 10 minutes later after that called, and he was supposed to go on live. And while he's leaving all these people dangling, saying he's got a bad reception, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
because I was multitasking, I was seeing what's going on where, and at the same time I'm recording and listening to their conversation, which was very enlightening.
Yeah.
Mm.
So he's
Mm.
throwing stuff out about, oh, you can't, it is a federal offense to record somebody's phone call without them knowing about it. and using it for malicious slander to destroy them. And I'm like, I wasn't doing that. I was actually using the recorded phone call that we had for one, my protection, and two, proof to show a vet evidence that you actually knew about the stuff that was going on and you did not care about the fact that you were fooling your 30,000 something subscribers. And
And just before you go any further, you need to make it clear why we recorded him last night was because we did catch him blackmailing, which is a felony, but also you can use this in court to get a restraining order to stop these threatening phone calls. And that is why we had to record it, because the threats.
well, it was protection. I needed, and plus having you guys as a witness, it's not like I'm going back and saying, "Oh yeah, he told me this other time." And no, you guys were there. You witnessed it. You heard it, and I know he was recording. Um, he says he records all videos and all phone calls, and that I kind of wonder too, because if that is the case, then he wouldn't be calling to say, "Do you want me to drop it?" Because that was his first question. Are we going to do this? Are we going to fight? Or do you really want to fight? Do you really want to do this? So he's putting this on me, classic narcissist, putting this on me. Do you really want to fight? Why did you drop that video? That's illegal. That's a federal offense. He kept turning it around on me like he was going to try and make me feel guilty for it. Do I feel guilty for it? No, there was nothing in that that was defamatory. If anything, it was him. He was sitting there putting blame on other people in that phone call even. Um, And yeah, I obviously knew that I was going to have it and use it, and I was listening to everything. I set him up with those questions. Absolutely, I did. Because I knew sooner or later he was going to come out and say that I was obsessed with him. I was disgusting. I'm ungodly. I am not a Christian. I'm a witch. I'm obsessed with, and over, he even said it in the phone call last night that I was sexually obsessed with him. Trust me, not in the slightest. On top of the fact that he kept going back and forth about my jealousy and what was the other thing he even said too about, I'm trying to think now. I would like to actually bring up the recording and play it.
I have
However,
a
there was,
question.
yeah.
Okay, he said it was a federal offense.
Yeah.
But
Is
yet
there
he
anything to
does the
back it up?
same thing.
Well, yeah, he does the same thing, but the question I want to ask though is that is there anything backing his claims,
Oh, he said
or
something
is
about
it
the LARPing law or LARP law, LARP law. I don't know, something like that. He's
I
like,
don't know. It was
if you don't
LARPing?
believe me, look it up. Look it up. Don't believe me, look it up. And then, oh, that was the other thing that I thought was so funny. Okay, so Wendy ended up messaging me afterwards because, of course, Shell and Wendy were in on the phone call and heard
Uh,
everything that he was saying. And I guess in the show that he ended up doing um, when he did finally go live, was I guess he made a comment about him contacting an attorney that day, and he had just been on the phone or had just been talking to an attorney that day because another channel put out an attack video on him, and I'm like, attack video? I didn't do it. An attack? Was that? Nope. I just released a conversation. That's not an attack. And then also if he made a phone call that day to the attorney and that's what he's telling all of his viewers, because of course he's got to get his viewers, all riled up. Well, he's on the phone with me going, I'm going to call on Monday. You're going to find out. I'm going to call him on Monday. I'm going to make that phone call on Monday. Classic bluff. He did that all the time. And I know because I would be on the phone with him, very similar, while he would be bluffing other people. Just like he did with bluffing Sparky, just like he did with bluffing Abe and Josh and everybody else. That's all he does is bluff. I don't think he has a honest bone in his body.
it's almost like he has a DID problem, dissociative problem, because he takes on a whole different tone. And Cluff,
Oh
if
yeah.
you could have heard this, he gets so authoritative and like he is the judge and the jury, and he's talking about what the jury is going to say, and he's talking to Jess in a tone that you and I have never heard him do. It was very appalling. um there was
That's
quite a bit that was hard to sit through and listen to him talk to Jess that way and not go, you mother, all right, I won't go there, but it was really hard to hear how he talked to her. And I don't think that 99.9% of his viewers would even believe the tone and the authoritative way he was commanding her. They would not believe it.
Mm.
Not the way he comes off on his lies and, oh, I'm such a godly man. I'm such a Christian man. No, it is not like that at all. And I can't do his list, or I would have definitely done it just there. I'm not good at doing that. But yeah, you wouldn't have heard a list in his discussion yesterday with her. He had a total different tone than I've ever heard,
like a
and
different personality, huh?
yeah, like a DID
Mhm.
or something like that. It was very, very unnerving.
Yep. I think some of them like to call it his captain. His captain came out in him. Yeah.
No, the thing. I was like, I
We,
could do the
hey,
voice, but I'm not
no,
gonna do
no.
it.
I'm trying to look for, I thought you emailed it to me, Shell, but I don't see it in here.
I did email it to you, but it didn't come from my typical account. So I
Check your
did put
spam.
in, yeah, I was going to say, I did put in the, um, where, the about, I put phone conversation with um, abnormal asshole. No, I didn't say that. I'm just kidding.
The whole witch comment when you said earlier, it makes you wonder because originally, w- thought it came from PRT, but what if it's him saying all that stuff about you just to really throw you off your game and all that, and then make you go after PRT so much more, but really it's partly him planting that.
Oh,
Uh,
totally agree with that.
yep. Yeah, he went back again and oh, this was one of my favorites. What he said, uh, you are, or I don't know if he said you are a witch, but he's like, I know you did witchcraft and I've seen it on your Facebook and I'm getting messages from people. People are coming forward and people are
Oh,
sending me stuff
yes.
about you. And I'm like, now here's the
He,
problem. Here's the problem with that, Mr. McKee. I don't even think you get that formal. You,
didn't he mention like a jar in the freezer or something that you posted or something? And like, I see all Justice posts. There's no such thing.
yeah, the freezer spell. Um, yeah, it was in regards to a binding thing in which you pray over the individual that you basically want to be quiet and shut up, and then you put it in the freezer and you freeze them. Um, that is what he's referring to. That is what goes back to why he keeps calling me a witch. There was an incident in which I was making a comment about how I was going to do that with PRT. Uh, was that wrong of me? Absolutely. Did I do it? No, I did not. The
Bind his
point
booty cheeks.
the point is there yeah. To bind it and put it in the freezer and take those physical steps, or whether you're binding it through prayer and God, yes, there is a level of disconnect from putting that in God's hands and putting it in the freezer's hands, but that is what he's referring to. So regardless, um, yes, I have prayed for binding. I have prayed for the severing of the bindings that he has over me and the bindings that he has over his moderators. And it looks like God is answering those prayers, and those prayers are coming through. And the more people that pray for the people that is currently under his spells, the more people will come through it and wake up and be able to break away from him. And it is not going to be easy. I do pray that Sky Wonderly, aka Kristen, and that Nancy are able to maintain and hold steadfast to God and stay away from him and be able to break those ties, because he is a evil, dark, manipulative individual. He is sick.
Especially Sky Wonderly, because she was set to go out with him from, unless it's a rumor, unless it's him blowing smoke, but that's what was getting passed around, that she was going to do that. And I would definitely fear for her.
So, well, her and poor Amanda. I mean, could you imagine her coming all the
Oh,
way from California to
But
find out that
yeah.
he's.
but your
Mm.
video from yesterday, where he's like, you shouldn't come down because his lawyer this and that and blah blah blah. But if Kristen and Amanda were to show up, it's fine. You know, they got special permission from the lawyer or what?
Oh, no, because court's over. He lost custody of his son.
Oh,
That's all done. Anybody can go to the records and see it. Completely done.
hmm.
Here, I'll pull it up. Y'all can see it. Third parties are not supposed to talk about it. However, at this point, I don't consider myself a third party because, one, I was involved with the whole spiel stuff, uh, putting out all of the crap for his benefit at the time. That is no longer the case. Second, I don't talk to Melissa. I talk to Wendy. Um, I check in on Rhonda every once in a while, but the most that we ever talk is like, hey, how's it going? How's the family? That's it.
Hmm.
And as far as Mike goes, even though he has claimed that I contact him or text him or message him or call him and try and keep in contact with him all the time, that's a bunch of hogwash, because even in my TikTok that I posted, you could actually see the very last time that a phone call came through on that phone line, anyways, because he's got several phone setups.
Hmm.
So if he's not calling through one of his various actual phones, he would be calling through one of his various Facebook Messenger accounts. He has several ways of getting a hold of people and contacting people. You don't cut ties that easy.
And
So,
I also think if you don't say the child's name, I don't see that there would be a problem. I would just steer away from using that kid's name because it's not fair to him. It's not fair
Yeah.
to his mother and her family. I guess there's a whole side of his family,
well, and
um,
like
the
I've done,
boy's family, that actually care about what happens to him.
like I have done with pretty much everything up until the point when he actually pushed me to do more. There was a point where I was only putting out information based on the documents and the actual legit information that I had, factual, documented court type stuff, text messages, things that were, that's how it's always pretty much been. Legitimate stuff, yes. My opinion interjected in there a few times, which I have been wrong about. My opinions were wrong, and I apologize to those individuals that I did hurt. I can't say it enough. Absolutely sorry. Let me pull up Rogers County, and I will pull up these documents. Well, not the documents, but I'll pull up the last and final one that was posted on 3/4 of 2026.
I do think it's kind of hypocritical for him to be talking about it. Where I guess he's telling you that you can't come down here because he's got to be focused on the case. But yet he's out there, he's still doing his boots on the ground, he's doing his sit downs and all this stuff. And I'm just like, if you're supposed to be so focused on your case, then why aren't you doing that?
You want to talk about hypocritical? How is he going to turn around and say that he's going to sue me for releasing a phone call conversation that we had, but then turn around and say that he's going to talk to his attorney on Monday and see if his attorney will allow him to release phone call conversations that we had when we were discussing things way in the back, beginning of, talking in conversations regarding, oh, let's see, maybe the sexual content in which we had shared in February of 25 that he happens to forget when I bring it up, but yet he wants to release it, or the conversations that we would have had about other people, and he wants to destroy other people's lives, and uh, with things that
Yeah.
we had talked
Um,
about that was innocent people that have nothing to do with
Oh,
his hatred and anger towards me outing him. Innocent people talking about how I'm going to release stuff on how you talk to your daughter, how I talk to my daughter. You guys have
yeah.
both heard how I talk to my daughter. Um,
And that's no one's business but yours. And
it's not.
she is a grown adult. She is not a child.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Have I
you
ever
know,
called my daughter a whore? No. Have
no,
I said she's acting like a bee? Yeah, acting like a bee. Have I ever said she is? No, she's not.
no.
She can act like one. I can act like one
Butthead.
too. Yeah, acting
We
like a
all have it in us. I mean,
yeah.
grown
That
adult women, I mean, we have it in us to be a complete capital B.
I'll say any woman that doesn't have the capability of acting like a complete and utter bee, you need to step up your game because we all
Acting like
need
a
that.
flippity bloop.
Yeah, need to all act like a bee. Um,
Especially if you're going to be dealing with people like Mr. McGee.
yeah. So I have to say, for him to turn around and make a threat like that towards me, and what did he say? I said, really, you would really go out and release phone call conversations where we would be discussing other situations, other people, whether it be the wolf lady or uh, things that you know Sharon may have been going through, or Pam may have been going through at the time, or things that even
Hurting. You
other.
said hurting, things that will hurt other individuals. He goes, yeah,
Yeah,
yes, I am. Yes, I am.
yes, I will.
Um,
Yep.
yeah.
No qualms
Jeez.
about it. Not even a hesitation. Just yeah, yeah, I will.
So what? Like
Yeah,
a scorched earth thing or what?
And then
if you
she's
continue, hang on.
saying around demonic people, like, and then he brings me into it. And
Uh,
then he throws in all kinds of things about me, which was actually, she thought I was going to jump in the conversation, but on the other end, I was laughing because he's calling my work AI, which most people that actually know me know I've been out of the field for a couple of years because of some medical things that have happened to me. And all of my stuff, all of my work was pre AI. Well, I have put my own work through AI just to see what it does. Some of the really great photographs that I've taken, I put through there, and AI gets confused by it, and they'll say, "Oh, this was taken prior to 2009, and this was CGI or whatever." And I found it quite comical myself. But the point of what irritated me in all of that is he doesn't know who he's playing with, the person that does take comparisons, the person that has SD cards to prove otherwise, the person that has a $10,000 camera because I did work for things that I needed and I didn't rely on PayPal or Venmo or people sending me money. So my pictures, they are actually photographs taken with a very nice camera, and he is comparing his work to my work. And he's saying, I put my work through it and my work doesn't come up that. Well, his work isn't actual work. It's screenshots that people like myself actually took out of his lives and sent to him. So his work is a blurry version, night version, messed up version, pixelated version of anything is going to say, oh, yeah, that's not CGI or AI because it's not anywhere near good enough. And he wants to compare his page to my page. Dude, get a life. You know what? To do what I'm doing, you're going to have to buy yourself a good camera. Secondly, you're going to have to put your little pea shooter in your pocket, and you're going to have that camera in your hand, and you're going to have to be willing to be up close and personal with them, and they're going to have to trust you enough to do it. All of the things that he can't do to me, and that's why he's never liked me, and that's why he wants to pick on my work. But this all stands to reason and goes with everything I said in the beginning. This guy did not know me. He didn't know my work. He didn't know who I was. He was messaging my family account, which that name does not match Shell Karaoke Dion. Why? Because it has my maiden name on there also, because it's a family account. And that's where he had contacted me and came at me sexually, was there. He never plugged in Shell Karaoke Dion and Shell Williams Dion. And he sat there saying that I had been a member to his group, I had followed him on his page and all that stuff. Lies. Never been in his group, never had a conversation with the dude, didn't know who he was until he messaged me. And the only reason I knew who was messaging me, because Bettina Moss filled me in just a couple weeks earlier saying, hey, you know that guy you share in your group with the stories? Yeah, watch out for him. He's not good. I thought he was a good guy. He's not. She had warned me about him. So therefore, he went on block, both pages. When Dana came to me and Dana said, you know, this guy, he's really fighting for his kids. It's all been lies and blah, blah, blah. She really got me believing it. I had seen him on Barton's page, which I have high respect for Barton. And he's been a good friend of mine for decades. I would trust Barton. So I'm seeing that Barton's interacting with him. Okay, it must be okay. I had to unblock this man to even have interaction with him. And he definitely knew who I was. When I unblocked everything, at that point, he'd already been friendly with me and wanted me on his shows, but I didn't realize it was through Dana and Jessica that I learned that he had a knife in my back already trying to get rid of me. And I was accused of all kinds of things, trying to break up his lives and the people in his lives. I've done this, I've done that. I never did a thing but try to help the guy.
He was
But
setting you
now,
he was setting you up to be in a position that if anything happened, he could turn around and say, see, I knew it. I knew it the whole time. She was there to try and sabotage me. She was there to try and hurt me. She was an evil person to begin with. She was a witch. I mean, somebody even said it in my chat last night. I think it was Jumpsuit. That, which by the way, I have to tell you guys, I think I know who Jumpsuit is, and I'll tell you off air. But, uh, I think
My-
Jumpsuit or somebody else even might have been the one that said, my experience is the person that ends up accusing everybody of being witch or doing witchcraft is usually the one that's doing it themselves. And honestly,
exactly.
I
Usually
have to
true.
say, yeah, especially in this case, how long
The
has it
proof
taken
is
for
in the
me to
pudding, though.
pray? I cannot say it enough though. I really can't. I cannot say it enough. I have prayed and prayed. The ties, the binding ties that he had on me, whether he did it through the manipulation and the way that he talks, or I don't know. There is a binding tie that he creates around people that he tries to keep close. And I don't know if it's part of the narcissism and it's part of the manipulation and it just goes hand in hand, or it is part of whatever demonic entity is oppressing him and has him doing these horrible evil things, much like hello, mocking his sister on his Facebook page about how she won't be allowed to be at her mother's funeral when his mom dies. He's
How
burying
morbid.
he's burying his mother at this point and mocking his sister. And I mean, that ain't
That's
shit.
almost like laughing at the face of God. That's like laughing in the face of God. I would never say something like that about my mom because I would fear God's wrath. I would fear what could come of a statement like that. Oh
Mhm.
my. Oh my.
He
He's
said,
bad.
Ho-
He's a bad, bad individual.
Hold up. I need to interject here something here. You had mentioned something earlier, Shell, that he came at you in a sexual manner or sexual way. Was that at the very
Yes.
beginning, or is that towards the end of
It would have
that?
been, I guess, from putting timelines together, I sat and talked with Jess and Dana in my own memory because I remember having a conversation with Josh not long apart from that. It would have been around the time all this information of his having his son taken away would have occurred. It would have been around that time.
Mm,
And according to Dana, it was around a time that he had some other woman that he broke up with. Um,
that would have been
I think it's name. Her name was Cassie, maybe.
Cat.
Same
oh,
name
that was a
my
while
daughter
back that
has.
he did that.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So this was going
Well,
back like 2 or 3 years
it was
that I've had him
2023.
blocked.
It was 2023 that there was some stuff that had happened with her. She had been brought up a few times. So there was a police report that was partially filed by Cassie regarding his stalking of her and her husband, harassing them. And then there was actually a
Oh wait,
video.
wait. He was married. She was married, and he was having a relationship with a married woman. But yet he's called people out for having a living situation with someone, and how ungodly they are, and how non-Christian they are. But yet he was having a relationship with somebody else that was married, and yet he tried this with Sky Wonderly also. So, oh, is this the pot calling the kettle black right now?
Yeah.
Not the first time. I mean, there was another individual too that I'm not going to bring up because I'm not going to do that to this person. But there was another one that he was having a long distance type affair with and ended up turning into a long term relationship. So I'm just going to leave that there. It's a pattern for him. Absolutely a pattern for him. And I don't know the timeline exactly of this other individual, but I guess between what I've heard from Wendy and Rhonda and another person, um, there was another young lady, old lady, I don't know, young, I would guess young lady because he only flirts with the older ones online. But the young lady that he ended up having another
Thanks for that,
relationship with,
Jess. Thanks for that dig. Yeah, thank you. I caught that.
I was that wasn't towards you
Damn.
actually. That was more towards Janice. But anyways,
Ooh.
I just had to hear you say it. I'm sorry. You
um,
So
can't have conversations like this and not laugh at some of it.
no,
there
honestly,
is another question I need to
I think.
ask.
Well, I was gonna say, I honestly think that's the whole reason why he had you come on his show that night that I was in Ohio. I think he was trying to get me jealous of you. So no, trust me, he does
Oh, and that
he
would make
does
sense.
that.
He don't want me and you to be friends because we would have
Uh-huh.
put 2 plus 2 together and you would have known the truth about him.
Yeah.
Which
Mhm.
I never do. Did I not? I stay loyal to everybody involved. I never said a word about any of the crap that he did to me until it came out, and then I have to pull up the receipts. And when I pull up the receipts, somebody put my name in their mouth. Mr. McKee, you put Shell Dion on your map, not the other way around. So, buddy, you have called me into this. Now deal with it. Deal what I gotta say. You know what? You want to say my pictures and stuff are AI? I can back it up. And most of my pictures have comparisons. Dude, what do you got? What do you have? That's what I want to know. All you have is a book of lies and a mountain of people that have the same story about you, you dirty, filthy pig. That's what I've got to say. Done.
What were you gonna
And
say, Cliff?
and right after that, you should just like lick your finger and go. "Tss." Because that
Okay,
was spicy. That was spicy. That was
that's
spicier than
spicy
chicharron
shell. That's
tacos
the
that we were
shell
talking about.
nobody sees.
Oh,
That's the
Yeah.
one that nobody likes to poke the bear. Okay, yeah.
So
I will
so the
come visit you in Ohio. Where are you from? He talks like he's got a mouthful of
O-
it, like some of
Oklahoma.
those Ohio. Yeah. Oh,
Don't
yeah,
dig
it's
on Ohio.
Okie.
Don't dig
Okie,
on
Okie from Muskogee.
Don't
Yeah.
dig on the
Okay.
Ohio. Ohio. What are
No,
they? Ohioans? Ohioans? I don't know.
I don't know. It's hard to understand some of them. Like it's hard to understand him. Sorry, just
No,
saying.
Ohio is where I'm going. I'm going later on this year, but then yeah, Oklahoma is where that POS is from.
so
Anyways, go
the
on, Fluff.
so the question I was gonna ask, with this behavior that he's doing, you think that it's something that he's just doing because he's a horn dog, or is it because it's a challenge? And that's an opinion uh, that I want from you guys.
Maybe both.
Well, I was going to say maybe both, but I could add something else to it. I think this. Look at Jess. We're looking at her. Is she not gorgeous, Cluff? She's beautiful
Hey,
inside and out. She's a good looking woman. But there's one thing about her. She's available. She's not married. She's not tied
mm-hmm,
down. All
mm-hmm,
these other people, they're married, they're tied down, or they're elderly. Um, well, they would not be fully available to come down there in his haunt. And if you were to be able to show up in his haunt, you'd be able to say, "Oh, that dude's a hoaxer." Um, just throwing that out there, I think it's another high probability, but we really don't understand what his reasonings are. I mean, all we can do is sit here and go back and forth on what we think they are, because ultimately, dude's got some kind of mental illness, if you ask me.
hmm,
Well, I agree. He does have a mental illness. I mean, especially what things that he does to his so-called friends. I mean, one of the things that he got so upset about was last year in the fall. Um, Harold and Christy were planning their wedding, and they were, busy dealing with stuff. And when the government shut down everything, the place that they had planned on having their wedding ceremony ended up having, to cancel it, and it just threw everything off. They were going through a lot. And Mike would get upset because they weren't showing up in his lives. Or they would show up and say, "Hey, everybody," and then they leave because they had stuff going on. We all have stuff going on in our lives. Our lives don't revolve around YouTube and the paranormal and the cryptid and Mike, especially. And
Absolutely.
he was so upset about it that he decided he was going to go live on a Wednesday. He was going to start doing his shows on a Wednesday. And he did his show on one Wednesday, and it hurt them. It hurt them bad, to the point where he was actually going in and telling other people, "Don't go watch them because they're not supporting me. I'm not going to support them." And I was busy doing recordings and stuff like that. So unfortunately, I did miss a lot of their shows. And then when he was live, yeah, I felt obligated to be there for him and his shows.
mm-hmm.
But one in particular was, I think it was the week after he first started switching his days, uh, and going on a Wednesday. Harold and Christy decided that they were going to change their time slot, and they changed it from 8 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock. And he contacted me and he said, "Let's go do live. You want to do a live? Let's do a live." And I says, "We're doing a live. We're doing a live at 8 o'clock. You're doing your boots on the ground." "No, but Harold and Christy they switched their times. They're going on at 6. I'm going to do a show. Let's do a
Man,
sit
what a
down show."
dick.
So here we
Dirty
are. We did
bastard.
a show about nothing. And he laughed and gloated because he said, "See, you mess with me, and that's what happens. I'm going to hurt you."
Oh
He
my
did it
You
on
know,
purpose.
gosh. And
if he
these
if
people
he,
are the nicest couple. They're
They
the
are.
nicest,
hmm
sweet people.
They are. They really are. And all they want is truth too. And they are, you know, everybody that comes in is always welcome no matter what. They don't judge, they don't hold grudges, they don't, I mean, even towards him when I've talked to them, their comment is, we know, but it's okay. No, it's not okay. They're like, no, we know, it's okay. It's not okay.
Because they
You know
don't want to
why?
get caught up in all this fighting and stuff. They
So don't,
know
yeah.
exactly what
Exactly.
happens.
And they're not
And
fighters.
they're
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 not,
true people. They're
yes,
really solid people. They're good people.
yes, they are.
That's the difference. That's the difference. That's what sets him apart from all these other people, and why he's got to go after and attack everybody is because the one thing that he isn't is transparent and good and righteous. He's not. He's
Mm-hmm.
a dirty bastard.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a dick move for him to do that to them, being a smaller channel. I mean, why don't you do that to PRT? You can't really.
No, he can't. Well, that's the thing. He knew he had that power over them. He knew he could choke them out, and he's still doing it. Ever since I left the
Jeez.
show and I did that video, and I've started, and I don't know, maybe it's my fault. Maybe it's because I started going back into their show, and I apologized to them up and down, just like I apologized to Barton, and I apologized to everybody that I could possibly think of that I hurt. And the only person I haven't heard from directly would be Melissa. And I'm hoping that she and those kids do understand how absolutely horrible I feel for believing the garbage that's spewed from this man's mouth. Because looking back, it's just, I, I should have
You
stayed
have to be
quiet.
embarrassed. You have to be embarrassed at some point there, Jess. And I feel so sorry for you for that. And just so you know, I shouldn't tell what me and Dana do behind your back, but I will tell you what me and Dana do behind your back. We pray for you. We honestly do. We pray for the ties and the tethers that he had over you, that it be released. We have prayed that you're not too hard on yourself for all the crap that he had you doing, because he had you masked. He had you looking through different colored glasses than were the truth. Um, and just you brought up something there. I don't want to let it go, but you're talking about him being in competition with PRT when they go live. Um, he can't compete with that, and I'll tell you why. Because for one, he would miss their show if he did a live. And I think he's trolling them so bad that he wouldn't dare do something he may miss out on. Just like last night when we went and had a show, did he not in his live like instantly? We were informed by other people that were there watching him. And I thought that was most humorous. Are you so interested in what we have to say now that you're going to stop your precious live? Really?
Stop. Wait,
I
stop it.
mean,
He had a
you didn't
hard
want to hear he didn't want to hear you talk on the phone. He wanted to talk over you, but now he wants to hear you.
he had a hard time even getting into the right live stream. What was that? That was just foobar, man. I mean,
Yeah,
he
Wendy
had
brought it to my
five,
attention. He's got like 5 lives going over there, and I'm like,
five
I went
live
over
streams.
there and I looked. I used my tablet and I zoomed in on it. I was like, so which one is he in?
Yeah,
And
he's like,
so I'm like,
what's going on? What's going on? And then he closed out one and he opened another one. He had two that were still like up and coming. Like, what a mess.
and
What a
not
mess.
I'm not trying to take anything from you. I think that he had himself in his own panties in such a bunch that he didn't know if he was coming or going. And it surely wasn't from anything you said on the phone, because basically he did all the talking and you were just like, okay, all right, whatever, all right. You just really in that whole conversation, it was like, I just want to be done with you. I just want you off my phone. I just want you to go away. And he kept on going. He kept on talking and reiterating himself over and over and over and digging at anybody that he could that would try and rile you up. And you just weren't having it. And kudos to you. because I don't know if I could have sat there and listened to a man talk to me the way you were letting him go on. I
Because I know,
probably would have, yeah, I probably would have been, F you, dude, and hung up the phone. But you're better than me in that regard. You're
well,
much better than me.
it's part of it is because I know his tactics. I mean, he thinks I don't know him that well. I know him better than he realizes. Let's see. For example, I don't know if I did it in the show the other night that I was talking about last night. I don't know if I brought it up, but there was, oh no, I think it was the phone call that you and I and Dana were on. There was the situation. We were doing a live stream show, and he had brought up his father. And the question was how long ago it was that his father had passed away. And he was kind of going back and forth with the numbers. And then his mom was like 14. And he's like, oh, yeah, 14 years ago, his dad passed away. And I was like, no. And I kept quiet. And the reason why I kept quiet is because I had been scolded so many times at this point that when he is wrong on his show, the last thing I should ever do is correct him. Do not correct him. And so
Hmm.
in that show, you can actually see my face because I went back to look like, oh, is it? Can they tell? Because he's even said, oh, so and so contacted me and said that they are so sick and tired of you rolling your eyes at me whenever I say stuff, and I'm like, rolling my eyes? I'm not rolling my eyes. Like maybe if we're joking, I'll be like, oh yeah, but I'm like, I'm not rolling my eyes to try and like whatever. I'm not going to argue. I don't like fighting, and so I when he said that 14 years and I knew he was wrong, you could see me in that video go, okay, I'm not going to say anything. And I let it go. The topic changed, blah, 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 went on. The very next day, there's a post on Rhonda's Facebook page that is public. And it says, all it is, it's a very like solemn, nice floral picture. It's like got that grayish brown background with these like flower vines up the side. And the only thing that is in there is in the very center is the number 12. 1, 2, 12. And he sends me this screenshot. And he is in a tizzy. Total tizzy. What is that? What is that? What is she doing? She's up to something. What is that? Rhonda knows something. What is that? It has something to do with the kid. What is that? Is that court? What is that? And I was like, Mike, no. You don't know what that is at all? Seriously? You don't know what she's trying to tell you? She's trying to tell you you're wrong. He's like, no, what is that? What do you mean? What do you mean I'm wrong? Wrong about what? What am I wrong? Over and over and over and over and again. I'm like, I'm laughing because he's, in my mind, I'm like, wow, you are so obsessed with what she has to say and what she's putting out. Why? Is it because she does have truth and you're scared that this truth is going to come out and people are going to realize it? Like, what is it? And I said, Mike, you said last night in your live stream, and your mom said in the live stream that it was 14 years ago that your dad passed away. And he's like, so? Said, she's trying to tell you you're wrong. It's been 12 years and that she knows it and you don't. And it was like,
Wow.
oh. And that was it. It didn't matter to him anymore at that point. And it was like, aren't you even going to question why I know this and why I'm understanding what your sister is saying and why you don't? Why aren't you thinking logically? Like, where he never even questioned like why I knew this, why I would think this through. And I kind of laughed at that in my mind going, you don't realize how much I really do know about you and your family and how much I really do know you as a person, Mike. Stephen Michael, know you a whole lot
Wow.
better than you realize.
Just that's got to be a whole lot like juggling to know somebody of his caliber that well, because there's so many different personalities going on with this guy. I
Why do you
can't even keep track. Holy
why do you
cow!
Why do you think that phone call that he made to me last night? I all I could do is laugh. I asked him, "Are you scared?" "I'm not scared. I'm not scared. You should be scared." I'm
Did
not
I
scared.
did I get an honorable mention yesterday? Then, by any chance?
Mm,
Yeah.
I think he did. I
Really?
think he did bring up Plus. Yeah, he did.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he said that I talked crap about you and that he was
Well,
going to bring it out. Oh,
that's fine.
oh, he
I'm
like
like, that's fine.
he does like to say that he's going to put stuff out about you and Laura. And I'm like, what does Laura have to do with any of
We're
this?
all
I,
ready. All of us are gauged and braced and ready for whatever Mike McKee has to say that Jessica said bad about on any of us. I mean,
ooh,
if
Laura.
if you really want to think about that, I mean, all any of us have is complete sympathy for Jess and what she had to be going through because this guy to be having so much focus on so many individual people, there's no way he could have an actual job or an actual hobby or anything. There's not enough hours in a day for this dude. I mean, really.
Oh, hobby? Kind of like spending time going out camping and hunting and fishing, like all he wanted to do on his Wide Open Adventures channel. But in the process, every single time I would say, "Hey, are you going to go out fishing today?" And he'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I'll probably go out fishing." And my reaction would be like, "Good, you need to get out there. You need to go and have, you time. You need to go out and get some time out." And I would be so happy when he would say that, not because he actually then would be doing something and not on the phone with me the entire time, but because you could hear it in his voice. You could hear it when he would come back that he had this recharge about him. Just like how I said I feel when I get out and I'm able to get out in the woods and hike and do stuff. Nature gives you a recharge. I mean, how could you not be out in what God created in its natural form? The wind, the trees, the animals, the sounds, everything, and not have a recharge. So when he would come back and he'd be like, "Yeah, I went fishing," and good, I'd be so happy. Great. Did you get anything? Did you catch anything? I did some recording for a few, and then, yeah, we came back. And you could hear there was a difference, but it was like he didn't spend enough time doing the things that he enjoyed doing. And it was for show. It was all for show. Just like him saying, "Oh, I'm going to fix up my trailer and I'm going to put in this garden and I'm going to plant these trees and I'm going to do a catch clean cook," or, "Oh, let's see, I'm going to go to an island that I've never been to before to investigate." And it's the same dang place because you can see the same dang red lights flashing in the distance across the lake, reflecting off the lake. And it's like, dude, who are you fooling? You're fooling yourself and a few people that are watching you, but for the most part, he's fooling himself. He's never going to do anything. He's never going to move out unless Mom and Kaylee finally put their foot down and tell him to get the F out of the house. He's never going to, oh my gosh, all of the conversations that he would have complaining and whining and just being a bee about how uh, they're taking my money that I earned from the channel to buy Keeley food. So, well, I'm not going to
That's
go
your.
get groceries. I'm going to
What
go to
the,
the store and I'm going to go get something from the store myself because I don't want to buy Kaylee food because all she likes is this and I refuse to buy it.
that is his daughter, and he's making a big deal that his
Oh,
money is going to his daughter to feed her.
Hmm. Oh,
oh
oh,
my
because she's old
God.
enough, she should just get a job
How old is she?
at 24.
My daughter's 25. Do you think I would ever turn my daughter away from any? You know, I actually, when I'm going to the store, I actually say, "Cassie, give me a few things that I can put in the fridge for when you have snack at night." I still do that. Do you do that, Jess, as a mom? Do you do that?
Well, if my daughter puts her hands on my tacos, maybe, but other than that,
Mm.
That's pretty
but
dangerous
I
to do
usually
that.
I usually make sure that there's enough to go around. So, but
Right.
no,
I
no,
mean,
I wouldn't.
as
Mm-mm.
a parent, your children are always your children, no matter how old they get.
Yeah.
Hmm. Exactly.
I mean, personally,
Right. What? Like,
but you know what I don't understand as a parent? Okay,
hmm,
so my door is always going to be open to my kids as they need a place to stay.
yep.
That's, that's how I was raised too. But at a certain time there, or, around your early mid 20s, when you're done with college and, you're getting a life of your own, you get out there and you make a go of it and you don't live with mommy anymore. I mean, I had to go back and live with my mom a couple years when I was going through the divorce. But while I was there, I was helping my mom because she was still working and my dad was sick. I was taking care of my dad while my mom was at work. And then after my dad passed on, I stayed on like another year to help my mom get adjusted. But then I went on and lived my life. Like, why would you want to be living with your mom and your sibling so long? Or how could you? Like, mentally, I
Hmm.
couldn't do it
I
mentally. No, I couldn't. I couldn't pull that
I,
off.
I can't
How
stand the
old is he?
hypocritical. I can't stand this hypocritical crap that he's pulling on here. So he wants what's her name, Kaylee.
Kaylee.
She wants to go get a job because he doesn't want to feed her, but yet he doesn't have a job. His whole thing is just YouTube, and like he still live with mom.
Mhm. Well, he's living with mom because he has this inability to be on his own. He has a severe fear of being
Loneliness.
alone, uh, of being left alone. There were several
Then go get
times.
some help.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah,
Um, okay, so the whole issue is too, he can't be left alone. He has this extreme fear with being alone. Ever since his son, he claims that ever since his son was taken, that he had been living with his mom. But that's not necessarily the case because there was statement that his son actually had his own place at his mom's house. That house has 5 bedrooms in it, and from what I remember, because again, we were talking about it again on the show last night. Somebody, Nancy, had mentioned that he sleeps in a chair by day and he schemes and plots by night. Yes, she is absolutely 100%. She knows what she's talking about. And I know a few people were like, oh, haha, that's funny. No, she is 100% truthful and accurate in that statement. So, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. This is going to be part 1 of 3 of the recordings that Shell, Clough, and I did, speaking about some of the stuff that had happened and had been going on, discussing Mike and abnormal investigations and some of the things that they've experienced, or we've experienced. So the next one that I'm going to be dropping will be in session with part 1. I'll have a second. The second one will be coming up shortly, and I will have a part 3 in which we will be discussing and going through the phone call conversation that I recorded Saturday night. And that recording in particular, that was recorded Saturday night, April 4th, is the call in particular where Mike called to blackmail me in removing the video that I had dropped just 30 minutes prior to. That, in all honesty, again, as I discussed, wasn't something that I had planned on dropping in the first place. It was already there. It was a private link for people that wanted to hear as you may have already known, have listened to, private link that people wanted to hear where he was actually admitting to knowing about the voices and the hoaxing and didn't care because it was actually bringing in views. So he justified it. And then on top of it, again, threw his friend Josh Hughes under the bus. So stay tuned for that. And then finally, I will also be dropping the full phone call conversation in entirety, again, with removing the names of the individuals in which he was trying to blackmail me against, because I am not going to allow him to ruin any good, honest people with lies, manipulation, and strong arming me into doing things that he wants me to do because he's scared of his truth coming out. So I hope you were able to get something out of this. Stay tuned for part 2, 3, and the final full conversation. Have a great night, great day, great evening. Hope to see you again soon. Hope to see you over on the real Arcane Adventures page. Hope you enjoy these Abby Badgers being exposed, Mike being exposed truths, and we will see you next time. Good night.